Minutes since Jamie's not here. So that's another thing.
Oh, man. Uh,
I'm not even, since I have 2 months that have not been provided yet. I really want to try to not take anything on, um, if that's okay. I don't know if Glenn or Shane, if you'd be willing to do that.
or Ed,
I will have a recording that I can send
that,
you.
how do you send that? It translates to text, right, Denise?
Yeah, it's both
Okay,
a transcript
right,
and a recording. It's for our use only, and
right,
then we delete it after the minutes are approved.
right. Well, I was going to say, I'm not set up. Usually I record in a different manner the meetings. So I have, I really know what was said. And I'm not prepared to do that. So if you can get me
I
the,
do have the
if you,
recording as well. I
I
thought you were
understand.
just asking if there was a
Uh,
transcript.
uh, well, I'll take anything. I'll do it, but I'm not set up to record right now. So if you want to send me whatever you got that's
Okay,
helpful, that would be great. And
I will do
I'll
that.
volunteer to do the minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Um,
welcome.
so then I'm gonna call the meeting at, oh, it's 7:11. All right.
Make a wish.
Luck.
Yeah, make a wish. Um, roll call. Aaron McGuire's here, Denise Zimmer, Glenn Candia, Shane Mott. Excused is Alex and Jamie.
Mhm.
And then we have a vacant position, which we still need to fill. Um, do I have a motion to approve the September minutes that Jamie um,
So ably.
so ably shared?
And quickly,
Yeah,
unlike
yeah.
Denise. I'll move.
Okay, so we have, do we have a second?
Sure, I'll second, yeah.
Okay, cool. So we have Denise made a motion and Shane seconded. All right, so the September 2025 meeting minutes are approved. Jamie would be very proud. I feel like she always gets nervous about submitting them and she's always like, no one ever gives feedback. I'm like, no one ever gave feedback when I sent them out either.
Yeah.
Well, unless
Well,
there's,
it's very straightforward. Like we're not dealing with complex issues right now. So I think she's doing a great job of capturing just like the topic that we're covering.
right. And
Yeah, I think she's doing a good job.
yeah, and unless there's something noteworthy that's inaccurate, if they're accurate and well done, then good, you're done.
Yeah.
Where's my list?
Okay, so we don't have a lot on the agenda tonight. We don't have any new business unless someone wants to bring
Ah,
new business into the discussion.
I don't know that I would call it new business. I will make one kind of observation or statement when we get to that section, but it won't be long.
Okay, all right. So then we have the recycling and trash reminders to landlords and tenants that Glenn and I were going to work on, but Glenn and I did not get together. So there's
well,
no.
I have something on that if you don't
Oh,
mind.
you do? Okay,
Well,
yeah. Let's hear.
I sketched out some preliminary notes, but I wanted to run it past you guys. I thought twice about this. And I think it's prudent for a couple of reasons to wait until after the election, most especially because he's busy. He's always busy, but he's very busy prior to the election. I think it makes sense to run this through TK as well. A lot of the things that would be included in any kind of mailing to property owners would be things that would be subject to inspection and fines. And I was just gonna run the list past him that I have, and I was gonna throw the list at you guys and see what you thought of just the things that came off the top of my head. And then whether you thought it was a good idea to run it past someone. I thought of TK, but only because, he's the city attorney. So you want me to tell you what I've got so far, and then you guys tell me whether you think it's something that should be run through someone in the administration?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds good.
So let's see. So regarding trash and recycling, so um some of the things we can reiterate, which are already very well stated by Aaron's yearly schedule, are curb placement, how things are placed at the curb, and it probably shouldn't have a lot of detail, but storage. So apparently there's, and I don't know this specifically, and Aaron, you may know, but apparently you have to have your cans or everything related to trash and recycling, but specifically cans, behind some kind of enclosure, like they can't be seen from the street, apparently. Does that sound right to you, Aaron?
No, yeah, there's like a thing in the ordinance that you're supposed to like have a screen, or you're
Right.
supposed to block, or the cans aren't supposed to be visible from the street.
Correct. All right. So that one we might want to reiterate. Leaving cans out, I think it's within 24 hours, you're supposed to bring them back to that enclosure area. Or, wherever, back. In my case, it doesn't matter in my case. So those three things, reiterating the schedule and the app, mentioning those, there's a schedule and the app, and then have a link to the app and blah, blah, blah. I think that would be helpful. I also wanted to focus on, these are things that are generally required of property owners, that people may not know, or certainly may not be adhered to at times. So something like snow removal, I can tell you in my area, you could be walking down the sidewalk, and especially at times when it's cold for a number of days in sequence, the snow gets compacted by people walking on it. And then if it's really cold, it turns to ice. So now you're trying to walk over literally a sheet of ice, and it's not cool, especially because it's lumpy from all the footprints. So if you were to fall, it wouldn't be smooth. You'd fall on a lump. It's not good either way. But people walk their dogs, people walk their kids, people take their kids to school. In my case, Lincoln School, I see moms, dads taking their kids to school. And it's really just a very unsafe situation especially when it's ice. When it's snow, you have some traction, but as it turns to ice and gets compacted, it's really bad. So I remember being at a city council meeting where they were looking to change the number of grace period hours you have to clear the snow from your sidewalk. I think it's 24, but they were looking to change it to 6. So it didn't pass. But so that's why 24 sticks in my mind. And someone else may know the ordinance more specifically. Is it 24 hours? Anyone know?
I don't know if it's 24 hours.
Yeah.
I know that it's like a certain, I know that there's a certain time frame, and I know it always stresses my husband out.
Oh,
Because-
yeah?
because he doesn't, he's like always afraid that he's gonna be inconveniencing someone, you know what I mean? So I feel like he's out there like while it's still snowing,
Yeah.
like preemptively like
Yeah.
getting the snow up, you
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Yeah. So, you could be doing that. I think it's so many hours after it stops. And for some reason in my mind, I'm thinking 24. I can check into that. And that's one of the things I wanted to check with, the type of thing I wanted to check with TK. But let's see. Let me look at my.
Meaning
Think-
just to make sure what we write is accurate, not to recommend changing it. Correct?
You mean like changing?
You're not suggesting that the time is not
Well,
adequate.
Well, that would have to go through the city council and be passed as an ordinance or an amendment to the ordinance if it was gonna be
Yeah,
changed.
no, I
but
understand.
no, I don't think it should be, I wouldn't recommend changing it. I just want to make sure
Okay.
I'm accurate. If
In
we're
what it
gonna
is.
mention, like snow must be removed from the sidewalk within X hours, I want to make
Mhm.
sure it's accurate. My guess is
Right.
it's in the ordinance and I can find it. But I've been a little busy with health issues recently, even yesterday. And insurance. I mean, oh my God, I've spent hours today with United Healthcare and my physical therapy provider, and it's literally hours, like over 3
Oh,
on the
good.
phone with both of them. It's just a nightmare.
Yeah,
It's all
that's
about
always
the
fun.
it's
The
all about the
insurance folk.
NPI, guys. You have the right
Crazy.
NPI. So yeah, I just wanted to confirm with him that these made sense. Anything else that could be thought of by perhaps TK? It could be anyone else. Larry, your husband, Aaron, anyone else that might have some insight. There was one other regarding noise. I was going to recommend we put in something about the noise ordinance generally. Something to the effect of I have here, and this was just typing, stream of consciousness type stuff. New Brunswick has a noise ordinance that's in effect 24/7. Something about disturbing neighbors. Can be okay. Yeah.
Okay, and Glenn, not to cut
Yeah.
you off, but it's
No, that's
12
okay.
hours, 12 hours for the snow removal.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. Yeah.
Sure.
After it stops,
12
right?
hours
After
after
it
it
stops.
stops.
Yeah, right.
Wayne?
Right.
After
Yep.
it stops,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. But I'll tell you, one time I was walking when I was taking classes in, I think it was like 2017, to finish my ecology degree. I used to walk to Cook from where I am, so it's about 2 miles. But I used to walk down George, and there's it goes it goes downhill up until about, I'd say commercial, not well, maybe not commercial anymore, but maybe Remsen. For me, it's downhill and then uphill the rest of the way to Cook campus. And when you're trying to walk uphill on ice-covered sidewalks, it's literally a tragedy. And there aren't as many hills around as far as I know, except for that dip in the middle of the city, probably at Robeson or something like that. I think it is Robeson actually, but then
Yeah,
it's uphill.
the
And
new
I reported a couple of them because I'm like, you can't get up. It's ridiculous. You have to walk into the grass where it's still snow, so you can get some traction, or
New
out in the
Brunswick
street.
isn't great at enforcement. I found. I mean, I've lived here long enough and walked the sidewalks. I've lived in the deeper neighborhoods, and most don't, since they're not homeowners. Typically, there is majority renters here, so the renters don't have to, and they don't seem to enforce this
Property
for
owner.
the actual owners,
Landlord.
right?
Yeah.
So no one just no one does it. And then since there's a lot of students, the students don't complain. They don't know any better.
Well, and that's, you just hit the nail on the head. That's exactly the purpose of this. Some people don't know. I mean, it may even be a new homeowner that doesn't know who's renting out the property, these like, the 24 inches that we were talking about last time, and from the curb to the street. You're
Yeah.
supposed to keep your property clear of debris, not just the front of your property, the side of your property, all your property, actually, even the backyard. But from the curb 24 inches into the street, that's your responsibility. I don't think that's enforced very frequently. Just like anyone that parks on the street, like I do, you're only supposed to be at a specific spot for 48 hours, and then you have to move, or you can receive a ticket. I didn't know that until I got a notice on my car, and I lived here, I don't even know how many years. So you're exactly right, Shane. It regardless of whether the property owner, and this is something they should have to think about, regardless of whether the property owner takes a responsibility onto themselves, has a third party do that maintenance, or puts the responsibility on the tenants. It needs to be done, right? Your experience is the same. You see a lot of sidewalks that are unkempt, let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a good reminder and informative that people may not know this or pay attention to it or think about it, or hopefully
you know,
care.
work like this in general is um, very useful for a city like New Brunswick, because I'm sure you guys have lived in other places and suburbs and maybe cities as well. But I mean, they don't, a lot of the issues we have in New Brunswick, you don't have like in the neighborhood I where I grew up, right? It's a bunch of families. People are a little more responsible, because it's not just a bunch of young adults who maybe don't know these things yet.
Or
So
transients generally.
yeah, or they're coming in and out, you know, so they don't, it's a little bit harder for them to really feel the community and want to take care of it. So, you know, educating people, reminders, doing it in a way that people will listen to and care. I think it's really important. This was what, 3 or 4 months back when you first brought up the idea of fixing the situations with the garbages, and how, you know, when it gets really windy, it starts to just knock garbage everywhere, and you're walking through the city, and it's just not necessarily the downtown, but the neighborhoods, and it's just
Right.
it looks terrible, you know. So these are things that'll just make New Brunswick a nicer place, and is
Mhm.
good for the environment as well.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. Yeah, I did my little cycle of debris last time where, falls out of the can or whatever, falls on the ground, goes to the curb, gets flattened, runs down with the rain down to the catch basin, and then goes out right to the river. That's the
yep.
cycle. So, yeah, I think so. The residential neighborhoods deserve to look, presentable to everyone, residents and visitors,
Mhm.
so.
For sure.
But there are some safety issues, like the snow removal. That's a safety issue.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, it's something. What else? How do you get people to comply or care? Think about it even. And yes, the transient issue is, New Brunswick is I don't know, 70% rental,
If I had to
right?
guess, that would sound about right to me. Maybe
Yeah,
more actually.
yeah.
Well, it depends on what parts, I suppose, but
Sure. I'm talking overall. And if you're here for a year, you don't know.
yeah.
And if the landlord doesn't communicate it, and the property owners should know. They should be, responsible for this stuff. And whether they pass that responsibility on to the tenants is between them and the tenant. But
Well, that's where I think, and I don't mean to get on too much of a tangent here. I know we have other things to talk about, but really, I'm a strong believer that the owners themselves and the people renting out the property should be the ones to kind of be responsible for this, which I mean, legally, I guess they are,
yes,
but they're the ones that we need to focus on. Because you're right, if someone's here a year, well, it's good for them to know, but once they leave, it's a lot of work to have to re-educate everyone every single year. But the owner should know, and maybe they don't care as much because they look at this as just a way to make money. And when you live somewhere, it's a different sense of community and pride, as
that's right.
opposed to just owning something and trying to squeeze as much money as you can out of it. But
That's right. Yeah, there's
um,
a certain pride of ownership with the property, like Aaron's area. I could walk around Lincoln or Jefferson or New York, and every all the sidewalks are clear, like,
yeah,
snow or debris.
The funny thing is that like we do get like very minimal trash on like the part of Easton Avenue that has all the renters, you know what I mean?
Right.
Living in those
Mhm.
big houses. So we do get like trash sometimes, but it's in the areas where there's less homeowners, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. It's always interesting to me.
Yeah.
yeah.
But like your husband, people that own properties on that street, I don't know which street it is you live on, but let's say New York, they're out there, being conscientious about, oh my God, I got a shovel. They're concerned about it with an emphasis on
Yeah.
concern, right?
Well,
Yeah.
Clint, are you able to share? I don't know if you have something written
I
that you can
don't.
screen share.
I
Okay.
don't. I'm so sorry. It's just a
No, that's
text.
fine. I mean, we could maybe even next week, or you'll probably have it
Yeah.
submitted by then.
I,
But
I
for me, I'm more
once
visual than
I,
audio when it comes to.
Well,
uh,
tell you what, that brings me to the second or the first point I brought up about running it past someone. Uh, Please chime in. Who thinks? I don't think we should just. Aaron, maybe you're the best person to do this with. I mean, you have insight into the largest portion of this kind of thing, snow removal. Neither one of us were clear until Shane looked it up, but who do you think we should run this past, even once we get, some ideas on paper, which I have, but I think it's a good idea to say, hey, what do you think about this? Or they could even chime in with some things that we didn't include. But I think it's a good idea to run it past someone officially before we submit it for consideration, because I don't know whether it's going to be put out or not, but it's worth, right? No?
Mhm.
I'm just trying to think. The thing is that like, if you want someone to look at it, I might actually suggest Charlie Gayden,
Oh,
who's like
yeah, right.
under TK.
And she does housing issues.
Well, yeah, she's kind of been tasked, and she works a lot with like the sanitation inspectors, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. And
So,
housing.
and well, I didn't know it was housing.
Yeah,
But I feel like she's a little bit more like she has a little bit more
in the
knowledge of like,
trenches perspective.
yeah, I feel like
Yeah,
she has a little bit more knowledge of like, well, I don't know, I feel like you had to like send it by someone. I think that she would be a
yeah, that's a good idea.
good choice.
Yeah. She's on the beat doing the work day to day.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So do you guys know Charlie? Right?
I don't.
Oh,
I don't
really?
think I know. I don't. I'm better with faces than names, but I don't think I do.
Yeah. I know she does prosecutorial work for the city, Erin. She's like, if you receive a summons as a property owner for something to do with housing, like I mistakenly received a summons, three actually in one shot, um, that I didn't register my property. As a multi-dwelling property owner, you have to register your property yearly, whether your rental unit's occupied or not. And I did, but I received a summons because they thought I didn't, and I couldn't get it remanded before the court date. So I ended up sitting in front of a Zoom camera all day. And then when my turn came up, I explained to Charlie, you're sitting there in front of a judge and Charlie's there. And I said, Charlie, I did register. They know about it. They're trying to fix it, but they haven't gotten back to them. She goes, oh, I'll text them. And she texted Patricia, and then it was dismissed after she got a reply. But so she does things like that. She's in court dealing with property issues, my knowledge, and then sanitation, obviously inspection too. So I don't know her official title. She's very cool.
I think she's like a
Oh, I have,
assistant attorney,
yeah, I have
something
her
like that.
card. I'm gonna look for her card. I have it actually. Sorry. It's Charlie Gayden too, I believe, right, Aaron?
Gaden, yeah.
Yeah, I have her card somewhere. I'm looking. But anyway, the point is, I think that's a good insight. I like that. And I wouldn't have waited had I known, but I was thinking, oh yeah, Charlie Gayden Esquire, law office of. It just has her, there is a solution to every problem. That's great. It just has her address. This is years ago when I used to attend city council meetings, but she does work with the city as well as probably have her own practice. Um, so anyway, that's a good idea. I like that. So, uh, and she's going to have some insight into what issues, you know, deserve a little more focus and pointedness in this than I thought of. But those are the things I've thought of, the ones I've listed.
Are you gonna include the one about like 24 inches in front of your property?
You know, it's kind of, I see the rationale there, just like I also see the rationale for being parked in one place for 48 hours, because parking's tough. Let's say, I don't know, you're a home, I don't know, I'm just making this scenario up, but you're a homeowner, you're a property owner and you rent it out, but you commute to New York, so you want to take to New Brunswick, the train from New Brunswick train station, so you, no, that doesn't make sense. I, um, you know, when street sweeping's not in being performed from November 1st to March 31st, the streets are unattended. So I could see how it makes sense from a keep New Brunswick clean perspective. But it's a tough ask. You know, I think I don't know. That's one of the things I was thinking about running past them. What do you think about that? I mean, it's in the ordinance, but it's kind of,
I think it's important, and I think it
okay.
brings to the attention like how much you're responsible for. You know what
Right.
I mean? I don't
Right.
know. I just
No,
yeah.
that makes sense. So those are the types of
Erin, is
things.
there anything in what you send out, like the calendar that you send out, or any other materials that covers any of this? Like, is there overlapping or duplication? I know we're thinking of this as a completely separate transmission, but I guess the question is whether it would be a good
I'm
companion
gonna get my
piece to
schedule.
something that's already being done.
So like I basically just do the schedule for the year, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I think it's worthwhile putting something in that the rent control like sends out, you know? And like what Glenn's including is not just about trash and recycling, it's about like
Mhm.
property maintenance, you know what I
Right.
mean? So that goes a little bit more beyond like just what I send out in the calendar. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's like something
Right.
more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it brings in a
Okay.
couple more things, but Aaron, I just grabbed my schedule, so I missed some of what you were saying, but there are some things that are mentioned in here. I believe you mentioned like bringing in your cans after, I think it's 24 hours or something.
Well, I don't know if it's 24 hours. I think it's like you have to bring it in like this. I think you have to bring it in if it's not your scheduled collection day. You know what I mean?
Right, but after it's collected.
Yeah, after it's collected. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have your cans in, like you're supposed to put them out by before 5 p.m. the day before. But I thought there was something in here, maybe I'm wrong, when they should be brought back in. Because I see a lot of cans left out. You know, there are probably cans out now and it's Tuesday and my area was collected Monday. But I think you also mentioned, something about enforcement. I'm looking at the schedule, but doing a quick read. So I think there's something about it. Or we could do brush and leaves too, if you want. Maybe, maybe leaves, I think in particular, brush is very specific. You know, it needs to be put in a can. And you need to call, but leaves, curbside leaf collection might be worth mentioning. Um, you know,
Mention I don't know if it would just be worthwhile mentioning that like leaves are collected in paper bags as well as loose, you know what I mean?
right,
And there's like a specific schedule.
right.
I don't know if it's worthwhile. I feel like since people can make like bulk online appointments for like furniture and other pickups like
Ooh,
brush you're mentioning, I
that's
feel
great.
I feel like that's like worth putting in there,
Yes,
you know what I mean? I feel
absolutely.
like putting that link in there.
Yeah. Because that's relatively new, right? It's been like a year now, right?
I think it'll be coming up on 2 years in April, which is
Okay.
crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Have people been using it? I know I have.
I feel like the adoption is not as high as like I'd like it to be. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of the younger people and like Rutgers students use it a lot,
Oh,
you
yeah?
know?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, for bulk items, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we still have a large portion of people that still, I think, prefer to call.
Right.
You know
Well,
what I
it's
mean?
lovely talking to Delisa. I love her. So yes, I think that's a great idea, mentioning the link. That's excellent. And what could be, scheduled,
Yeah, like
right?
what counts and what can be
Right,
scheduled, like what we
right,
pick up.
right. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. Well, generally, I think those are the main items. So I'm gonna put that in my little text document. That's a good one. Uh, Bulk. But so that's the bottom line. I don't know. Those are the things I thought of, Aaron. I don't know if there's anything you have in mind, but that's a good one right there. Bulk item pickup, link, and then running it past someone in the city before, we just go off and hand this to the housing department and say, here, send this out. I think it needs kind of a formal blessing kind of thing. I don't see.
I don't know if like it needs like
Well, I meant
formal blessing, but like
confirmation. I mean, confirmation,
yeah, I think it's good to like run it by like someone like Charlie who works with stuff and sees like like you said, that's like boots on the ground.
Yeah, I don't see anything about when the cans must be brought in. 5 p.m. before schedule, up to 3 containers, trash cannot be blah, 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 blah. And there used to be something about enforcement. I'm almost positive, like violations can receive a summons or something like that. But I don't see
I
it.
think there's like some boilerplate language that says like, if like fines will be enforced if the rules aren't followed or something.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? Something along
Yes.
those lines.
Yes. So that's the general idea, of
So
what I,
Glenn,
yeah, yes.
what are next steps for the document? Are you gonna type it up and send it out to us?
Well,
Are you gonna share it with Charlie? What?
well, yeah, that's a good question. That's a great question. I'm sorry, I've been a little busy. My aunt and uncle needed some help out in New York. So I was there for 3 weeks, and then my general health issues. So that's why I haven't been on top of it as much. Although, when I had some downtime, I was typing this stuff as the thoughts flew through my head, which is why it's just, stream of consciousness type of thing. I'm trying to think. So November 4th is coming up. And I was gonna talk to TK. So does this make sense to you? I was gonna talk to TK about it anyway, but how about if I run it past him? Because Denise and I at least will see him during the election. He checks into the polling areas every once in a while. And I'll run it past him and say, hey, do you think this is a good idea? And how about if we run it past Charlie? Does that make sense to you? And then I could schedule something with her, or we can, or actually, no, then I would send my ideas through to you, and you would do whatever it is you want to do. And then we could set up something with Charlie. Does that sound like the right sequence? Does to me, obviously.
I actually have a question about this. If we're asking, and correct me if I'm wrong, we're not looking
Wrong.
for, we want to send this out through or get it included in something for the housing authority. Is that correct? That's what
Right.
we're trying to do?
Through the rent control department.
Rent
Right.
control department.
There's a rental registration form that's sent out every year to property owners.
Okay.
Rental units.
So my question is, at what point are we going to engage them and talk to them? It feels like we're going to TK, which I think is helpful to make sure that we're not, violating anything or saying anything that's not accurate, not too much, not too little, but should we be engaging them in like before we even do that or put any more work into this?
Well, I don't know if you recall, I had called Maria Cody, who, to my knowledge, still heads up the rent control department. Is that right, Aaron?
It's now Patty. Where
Okay.
Maria does more urban enterprise zone.
Okay. Really, it's Patty. Okay. So I had called Patty when she's, excuse me, Maria, when she still headed up the rent control department, and ran this idea past her. Oh, gosh, probably 3 years ago, I'm guessing, or 2 years ago, since I've only been on the Environmental Commission, I guess, for 2 years now. And I ran it past her just as a, one of those, something just flew through my head. What the hell was that type of ideas? And the sense that I got from her about this is that she's, or their department, the rent control department, has been encouraging or is open and willing to have departments submit things that can be included in the rental property registration packet for years. If it's something significant and relevant and important and it should go out to property owners, then it makes sense. The example she gave to me was the fire code stuff about smoke alarms, their placement, the regulations regarding, like, you're supposed to replace them it's smoke and carbon monoxide, by the way. It used to be just smoke. They're supposed to be replaced every 10 years, something like that. They're supposed to be placed in specific locations. The fire extinguisher has to be, I think it's within 5 feet of the stove or the range, and attached to the wall. So those types of things. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So you are saying that 3 years ago, the person that
2.
was involved or was responsible for this was interested and thought it would be a good idea. So now we just
Yeah.
need to confirm that or go
Yeah.
back to them.
Well, I think since they're open and actually, probably almost bordering on encouraging this type of thing from departments generally. I don't know what other departments would contribute, but that it's more a matter of getting something, to put in front of them, and then, they'll run it through their process. Does this make sense? Check with XYZ. Probably
Okay.
Dan, I would guess they're going to check with too, and say, hey, these people just plopped this on my desk. What do we think? And then, but I'm at least personally aware that they're already kind of primed for this. It's just a matter of putting something on their desk for them to consider including.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was all. I just didn't want to be working on something that felt like it was
Horse cart
around them or excluding them.
or horse cart thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that if they want it by a particular date, if they want it in a particular format, that we can, know that. So that was it.
I don't, yeah, I think we were talking about this last year, Aaron, and all of us, and Aaron and I especially, but I think it has to be brought to the fore soon. I don't know when those notices go out, but you have to register by April 1st. So probably in February, or late January or sometime in January, they're sent out, these packets with the registration forms.
Okay.
So
it's a little time sensitive. So, okay.
It is, yeah.
All right.
And I don't know, look, it's just an idea, I rewatched Desperate Hour. It's the one about World War II, Winston Churchill during World War II with Gary Oldman playing Churchill. And there's that line in there that I've told to Denise a number of times, he comes up with 100 ideas a day, but only 4 are good. That's me, a lot of my ideas suck, but it's an idea. And if no one likes it, then throw it out, that's my.
No, it sounds like we're all in support of this.
Yeah, I
So
mean, the
you're
city
gonna,
too.
so you're gonna draft something for us to
Yeah,
react to, and then
yeah.
run it by TK, and then potentially send it over in a, you know, a
More
final
formal,
draft form to them.
right, right,
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
But
that sounds good.
that's, there's nothing to hide. I mean, there's nothing hidden here. Those are the items I'm thinking of. Basically, I could list them again, and I could send you guys an email with the list. But basically just quickly, regarding property maintenance, must be clear of debris. In parentheses, I have litter, comma, trash. Everywhere on the house, front, back, sides. And I do have in here, it says 24 inches into the, from the curb. I do have that written. I didn't know if I was gonna include it or not.
I personally would like to see it in writing so that I
Yeah.
could think about it. So
Sure.
if you're gonna do that, I don't know
Yeah.
that you need to. I think you did a really good job of like going over each of the reasons, each of the items and the reasons.
Right,
So really it's just about, did any of us have any other thoughts
right,
after we see it?
right.
So that would be my thought.
Yeah, sure. I'll send it out in an email. I could do that tomorrow. I will do that. So property maintenance, cans left out, it's storage of trash cans. Curb placement, how things should be generally placed at the curb. It's not going to be a repeat of everything Erin has in her schedule. And then links to the app. That was what I put in there. And then Erin has linked to the and a little description about the bulk item pickup. And then snow. Those are the items that I have in my head. So nothing beyond that. But it's hard to think of things
Great.
beyond that. Shane, you have some insight into this. Sounds like you've been, hitting the streets of the city. What do you think of anything else that might be good to touch on?
I mean, not off the top of my head. I think what you put together was pretty comprehensive. Again, once you have it written up, if you could share it with me as well, I always tend to absorb information a little bit better once I can get a visual on it. So, but I think that's good. If I have some more ideas, like I'll think about what we talked about today, and I'll just reply in the email or however you share that.
Okay.
But I think we're in a good spot.
Oh yeah, and by the way, sorry. Yes, thank you. And I will. I'm going to send it to all of you. One of the things we want to think about is how we phrase things, language, how we put these things down on paper. That's one of the reasons now that I'm thinking about it, why I wanted to run it past TK or Charlie, because we want to say things that are informative, not necessarily intimidating, but are accurate and informative, and it has to be put in a way that the city approves, going out in a mailer that the city sends out, right?
I think one of the things that you could do to cover that, like in and in writing, is to, at the bottom, reference the website for the municipal code or the ordinances. My guess is that all of these things have an ordinance related to them,
Sure.
rather than directing them to the city council.
Right.
Ordinance, approved ordinance, it turns into the municipal code and the description there, and that's public information. And I think that would be, it allows it to be less personalized and more objective. Like, here's what the regulation is, and if we want to be a little more neighborly in the wording, you're also including the more formal language in the link.
Right. Well, so yeah, I just typed Muni Code New Brunswick. So if you guys ever need to look at an ordinance, Shane, you might have just done this. You just type in a search window, Unicode New Brunswick, and it brings up the municipal codes, all the municipal codes for New Brunswick in the Unicode library. So
I spend a lot of time in chapter 8, which is the garbage and trash chapter.
that's right. It's also the noise and the snow removal, I would guess, but certainly the noise.
I don't know. I just know that
yeah.
it's chapter 8, like section 40.
Yeah, it's
You know
health
what
and
I mean?
it's health and safety, I believe, the heading.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it might be health and safety. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So a lot of these things would be there. Probably, the smoke detectors and fire extinguisher stuff is probably there too. That makes sense. Um, so yeah, it would be a good idea to reference that, where they could find more information. But I don't know, should we include anything that discusses, failure to comply with these, um, uh, specifications? I don't know, I'm just throwing out a word. May be subject to, fine, or I don't know, something like that. That's the type of thing where TK and Charlie would, especially TK in that sense. Do we want to go there and discuss the punitive aspect, or I don't know. Yeah. Just mention it, not necessarily say, maybe subject to fine, something like the language you have in the schedule, Aaron, right?
Yeah, maybe just something similar to what I have in the schedule. I
Right.
don't really want to like catch people, and the
Right.
people are already like, I don't know, based on the people that call our office and like put out like bulk furniture, people already are very aware of like the sanitation inspectors and like, you know what I mean? I don't want to like stir up any more. I like a boilerplate language would be fine. I don't want to
Right.
stir up any more fear because I feel like
Right.
people always are like, you know, they want to follow, well, the people that call want to follow the rules so that they don't get a ticket because the sanitation inspectors are out there looking at what people are
Right,
putting out in front of
Yeah.
their houses.
Yeah, we don't
right.
want it to feel punitive, more informative,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, more
Right.
like, we're like these are like, I don't know. These are not suggestions, but like
Important points of information.
these are important points of information and like you could get a fine, so like we're just like letting you know so that you're aware. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll look for that language in the schedule. I've seen it before. I just couldn't find it right now, but
I
I
think it's
think,
under the trash, like the trash regulations, like trash holidays.
oh, really?
I think
Okay.
that I think that's the part that it's under.
Uh, I see no illegal dumping in B. That's great.
That was my coworker really wanted to put that in, and I didn't see a reason not to. So,
Yeah, that's a good one because we were discussing that when we did the cleanup, in the mile run. Remember? We're talking
hmm
about putting up signs for dumping.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see it there,
And
but
we know there were old signs that were there. We found a couple
well,
of
there was
those.
that one sign, but that was on private property. I never saw another sign, and it's blue. I don't know if a city,
I think it was just old. I don't, and
maybe.
I didn't think that was, I thought that was a street that went down through a complex, but I didn't think it was private, but I don't want to debate that. We
Well,
can
the only reason
verify
I
that.
said that is because, there's parking on both sides of that throughway, and it goes through the, I don't know, I forget the name of the apartment complex off of
Mhm.
Hamilton.
Right.
But, but at any rate, the point is we want to encourage no dumping. Um, so anyway. All right,
Mhm.
so I think I know what to do, and I'll get my act together and get that out to you guys, and then formalize it. And Aaron, how are we gonna? Well, can we talk offline? Do you mind? If
yeah, that's fine. We can do that.
I can call you tomorrow if you don't mind, and we'll just talk about how we want to kind of formalize this, and then I think present it to some kind of authority uh, for the city, like PK or Charlie, and then come to a final. I don't think we should wait till the next meeting, although, well, we don't have a meeting in December, right?
We have a November 25th meeting,
Yeah,
2 days
right.
before Thanksgiving,
Yeah,
and then
that's
and then not until January. We usually do a
yeah, the
more of
get
a social
together.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, if we're going to do that, we should talk
destination
about that tonight
destination
too.
dogs. Um, so I don't know if we should wait any longer if we're gonna pull the trigger on this, because I'm sure they're formalizing their documents maybe even now to get them out the door for next year. Wow.
I feel like we should have it like finalized, you know what I mean? before the next meeting so that at the next meeting, we can just look it over one more time. And then after the next meeting, that's probably when we should share it with rent control.
Right.
You know what I mean? To like
Yeah.
give it to
Mhm.
them so that they have enough lead time to like get it into the printing.
Right. You don't think that
You
would
know
be
what I
too
mean?
late?
No, I
Okay.
honestly,
Oh,
I
good.
think like, I honestly think like, I think before December, you know what I mean?
Oh,
I
good.
don't think they're like going to print until January.
Right.
So I think we're okay.
Okay, great. Someone was saying something, Shane, maybe?
No.
Mm-mm.
I do have voices in my head. I'm just telling you now.
Mm-mm.
So, okay, I think I've taken long enough. I think let's wrap that up. I think we've got all that we can discuss out of all the juice out of that orange.
Okay, so type it up and
Yep.
send it out to us,
Yep.
Glenn, so that
Yep,
we
you
can
got it.
all give you feedback on
Yeah.
it.
It's just going to be the bullet points that I discussed now, and then you and I can discuss how we formalize that language, right, Aaron? No?
I thought what you were gonna share was like what you wanted to send out.
Well, that's the thing, the phrasing of it, how we want to put it. I think it's going to need some review probably at least one or two levels at the city,
We're in agreement, Glenn. I think the
right?
question is, can you draft what you think might work and then let us give you feedback on the draft of the language? And then we can share it with either TK
Okay.
or Charlie. Is that her name?
Yeah, Charlie.
Charlie, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well,
and then finalize, just like
right.
finalize it at the next meeting
Right.
for
Yeah, I
action.
got the whole sequence, but it was putting it into more formal language. So what I'm going to do then is I'll send you guys the bullets tomorrow. I'm not near ready. I have to think about it. The way I work is I'll type it out and see how it sounds and then massage it and then send it out. So let's say I mean, if we're gonna shoot for the next meeting for like kind of approval of this, there aren't too many layers to go through in the beginning stages. You know, I'll talk to TK and then mention Charlie is a good idea to run this past, and then so I'll get it out to you by when's the election, Denise? Next Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about
4th,
after
I
that?
think. The
Would that
4th.
be okay with you guys? A week from today, the 5th?
That works for
Yeah,
me.
that's fine.
Okay, great.
That works.
Because that's going to take a little finesse, you know, a little word thinking and wording and typing and that type of thing. So. Okay, I'm done.
Okay,
So
that sounds good.
for the sake of time, because I have a conference tomorrow morning I have to, I have to speak on that I'm not fully prepared for. But how many other topics do we have tonight
One.
before
Just
more?
one.
Okay, easy. All right.
And I got nothing on it. So
I'm
Aaron, you want
complaining
to
for
formally
nothing.
bring it up, and I'll just say I got nothing.
Yeah, so our ongoing recycling, skip the straw sort of stuff. Glenn, do you have an update?
I got nothing. No.
You got nothing. Okay.
No, what if anyone remembers, I'll be quick, but we were gonna kind of wait to see where the city council took the skip the stuff thing. Excuse me, we're gonna wait to see where the state took the skip the stuff thing before we made an effort here. And then that effort could be tied into the whole concept of getting businesses to start to think about using items that are more sustainably sourced. In addition to skip the stuff like cups and things that you get when you go into a restaurant. So I don't know where the state's at. If anyone knows, please throw it out. But I don't know where the state's at with skip this stuff.
I was on the state website, but I wasn't looking at that and I didn't notice. So I don't actually have information on that.
Oh, just put it in there. But we all agreed that it doesn't make sense for us to pursue it as a municipality if the state's going to do it as a skip this stuff,
Hmm.
right? And so I was New Jersey. I think it makes sense to, since that's, oh, Clean Water Action has something now. Okay. Well, I'll look at it, but it doesn't make sense to for us to make a full force effort on this topic until the state moves, right? And or we find out what the state's going to do. And then that would be a good entree into the entire concept to bring to Pam, right?
Right.
Right. That was the idea there.
Well, to bring to Pam in what way? I guess I'm not clear what,
Well,
if it's
skip,
going to be a state law
Right.
that businesses have to comply, could we help them in any way with implementation? Or are you just thinking that we would make sure that Pam knows and is communicating it to her membership, which I have every confidence that she will do.
yeah. Yeah, the idea was, so I received some posters that businesses can use to explain and present and explain the concept of skip the stuff. I'm sorry, I received those from Anjek a couple of months ago. And so they're the type of thing they've been working on this with other municipalities. And so I'm sorry, I'm looking at skip the stuff for New Jersey and I don't see anything on where the legislation is. Oh, let me do legislation. But so we would I thought it made sense to do it as one legislation going. To do it as one effort, once skip this stuff either passes or doesn't, and hopefully it does pass. And if it doesn't, then we make a move in the city, perhaps. I don't know if is that where everyone's head is at? You know?
You mean if it doesn't pass at a state level,
Correct.
we would suggest to the city of New Brunswick that
Well,
they adopt something like that?
well, it's already been put forth, right? We brought it to the mayor during that meeting, Denise. And
Yeah,
you and
I guess I was talking about the city council because they approved the legislation.
Right, but I think Ann's idea was to put it through the mayor, to the city council or see what the administration, I don't know. I don't remember every detail of that meeting, but Denise and Ann and I sat down in front of the mayor for a meeting for the environmental commission, and it was brought up and there was a model ordinance, remember, that she got from Anjek. And I don't know where that's at with respect to where it's in the pipeline with the city. But that was something brought up to the mayor at the meeting. I'm 100% sure of that. And I don't think it makes sense for us to push it if the state's going to come up with something, but so it's kind of pending on them. And then once we get,
So we just put it on the agenda as on hold pending state action or something like that. And then we can revisit it. Does that make sense, Erin? To keep it as an on hold?
Yeah, I would like to, I keep putting it on the agenda because I feel like it's something that we're still working on, but I don't want to lose it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, so we can put it's on hold until, we can put it on. I've never put on an on hold item, but we can do that. That's not a problem.
Right. Well, it's in my experience, it's something that's tabled. And in this case, it would be something that's tabled to a point in time, like for something, a specific thing that's not in our control. So tabled pending New Jersey state approval or action, I think final action and we could name the two bills. Honestly, we have a new governor that's coming in and the world is going to be, upside down for a few months while I don't know that this will get the attention
Right.
to get it passed between
Right.
now and the end of this session.
Right.
So that's just, so I think we're better off, instead of talking about it in the future, unless something comes to our attention or changes, that would be my suggestion, that, you know, we know when to bring it back up.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the reason to wait to approach City Market about this is it dovetails into the entire concept of what I was thinking with respect to, you know, using more sustainably sourced products in your businesses, right? Especially restaurants and delis and cafes, right? So
Mhm.
this dovetails into that. So if we're going to make a second presentation to City Market, then we go in with, you know, the whole concept. Okay, we have skipped the stuff. It's now a law. Right. And we can sit down and go through that with them. And I don't know. That was the idea last time we discussed it. Does that make sense? Do it all at once and
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. And by the way, I'm sure the state will come out with some, I'm sure, something regarding similar to how they want to see it implemented at businesses, right? So Anjec has signs now, but those are for municipalities that have passed an ordinance. But that's just on their own kind of thing. But once the state formalizes it, if they do, then I'm sure they're going to come out with a way of implementing this and putting it out to the public, right? And
Mhm.
businesses.
Hmm.
So that was the idea.
Okay. So I think we're in the same place that we were before. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think
Right.
we're waiting, we're tabling it until the state makes a move, either pro or not.
Mhm.
All right. So does anyone have any other, like, I guess we don't have the TAC packet. It's already been reviewed.
Right. And thank you for sending that, Erin.
I did send it.
Yeah,
I
thank
felt
you.
very responsible when I got it. I was
Thank
like,
you so much.
I have to
Yeah.
forward this right now.
It's been a little challenging personally for a couple of us that I'm aware of. So in between, it was hard to look at some of the, you know, like read through everything, but I really appreciate you sending it. And my intention is to look at it going forward every time I can possibly do that.
Yeah. Does anyone have any other announcements or anything that they'd like to share before we wrap up?
I did mention that I had something under new business. I didn't want to interrupt I didn't want to overtake old business with new business. I'll just mention what it is, and we can deal with this either in November or if that's a full agenda, put it on for January or sometime next year. I wanted to comment to the commission that I have received a number at this point. I think it's 3 in the last few months, contacts, 2 from documenters who have been with us at a meeting and asking for an interview for a class that they are writing, that they are attending, and need to interview someone and summarize what what the answers are. And then there was another person who was a green infrastructure champion, completed the course and contacted us, all of us, and Anne forwarded it to a few of us. I don't know if it came to everybody, but my point is that there are students and volunteers who are interested in our work and who want to be informed about what we're doing. And in the case of documenters, they write the minutes or a summary of our meetings and post them on the documenters website, which is under the auspices of Collab Arts in New Brunswick. So it's on the CoLab Arts. There's a link on the CoLab Arts website, and then there's information on Documenters and documenters.org, which is run by another organization. And they look like almost like news articles. It looks like what a press release with a headline, and then you open it and it's like the minutes to our meeting, detailed, almost transcript of our, a summary transcript of our meetings. I think that it would be helpful for us to have a more formal idea about how we want to, or approach to how we want to respond and who we want to respond. I make it very clear that I am speaking personally, and I am a member of the commission. I live in New Brunswick, and I care about environmental issues, but I think it would be helpful to kind of know what so in 2 cases, I got questions. I asked for questions in advance, and I knew what the answers were. In the other case, I provided them in writing answers. One was in writing. The other one was just being prepared when we went through the interview. In the other case, the person in the Green Infrastructure Program was asking us to get involved in an activity that they were sponsoring. The Edison Environmental Commission got involved with them. They had an event. We weren't represented. I don't know that we got it in time for to be discussed at a meeting. But in the future, I'd like to put on the agenda how we work and want to work with interested community members in our work, and whether there needs to be some process that we follow. Like, I got this call, does anybody else want to participate? Or I got this call, here's what I said, personally, but we're clearly being contacted as members of the Environmental Commission, not as representatives of. And I just feel like as a courtesy, as a professional courtesy, and to engage our community, would like to make sure we talk about this. So we don't have to go further now. If that could be a future agenda item, I'm happy to share more about what I got and whether, we want something a little more formal.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we can add it to the agenda in November. I don't think we're gonna have a full agenda.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, I like that idea. We could talk about it more next month.
Okay, terrific. And that's it. That was my only new business.
Okay, is there any public comments of any kind? Do we still have Frank?
He said he was going to have us on as an observer. I don't know.
Okay.
We are being broadcast just up. There he is.
I didn't know that.
Hi. Yeah, we are being broadcast.
Was that announced?
Yeah, well, we knew he was on from the beginning.
Okay. That should be announced, just so we know, right? I think.
Well, we did say it. We probably should have repeated it when you joined
3
us.
minutes
I know
late,
you were having technical
yeah,
difficulties.
Yeah.
So Frank, I see that you said, yes, sorry, your mic is off. That means you have no formal comments. Is that correct? Okay.
All right, there we go. All right. I'll call the meeting at 8:18 p.m. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out tonight.
Terrific. Good to see you. Run after that toddler, Aaron.